Hey YouTube, Trashy here, back with another Stardew Valley guide to hopefully help you out on your journeys in the valley. First, I just want to thank you all so much for the love and support you have been showing my videos. Reading your comments is literally the highlight of my day, so thank you all so much for giving me the opportunity to keep doing this. If you're new here, I already have a bunch of tips and tricks videos for you to check out if you haven't already, including a full seasonal tips and tricks series. And if you like what you see, maybe consider subscribing and leaving a little comment below to let me know that you enjoyed the video. Of course, before we go even one step further, I am contractually and legally obliged to remind y'all that there is no wrong way to play Stardew Valley, and anyone that tells you that you're playing wrong is a no good, very bad, stinky human being. Also, this video is going to contain late game spoilers, mostly referring to Ginger Island, including some golden walnut locations and secrets, so definitely watch at your own discretion. So let's jump right into it. Today, we are going to talk about Ginger Island, one of the best and maybe most frustrating locations in Stardew Valley. Ginger Island is an entirely new area of the game that was added with the release of Stardew Valley 1.5 in December 2020. And with it, it added a whole lot of content to the game, such as new NPCs, new enemies, a new cave system, new quests, and even a whole new farm for you to manage. In order to unlock access to Ginger Island, you first have to finish the community center or join Joja Mart and buy every bundle. If you're curious about the differences between these two routes, you can actually check out this video that I made, which should be on the screen or in the description below, and it contains everything you need to know about the difference between community center and Joja Mart routes. Once one of the two routes has been completed, Willie will get in touch with you about a project that he has going on in the back of his shop. He wants you to fix up his old boat, and in exchange, he will ferry you out to Ginger Island. Will he bring you there at any time of day? No, you have to wait until he opens up his shop, although he does start opening up at 8 instead of 9. Will he bring you there for free though? Also no. Willie asks you to collect 200 hardwood, 5 iridium bars, 5 battery packs to fix up the boat, and on top of that, he charges you 1,000 gold to use it. Thanks, Willie! Don't worry though, there are other ways to get to Ginger Island that don't involve Willie's extortionate prices, and we will get to them in a little bit. Once you've repaired the boat and slept for one night, you can set off on your Ginger Island adventures. Whatever you do, do not forget to bring the following items: a watering can, a fishing rod, a pickaxe, an axe, a hoe, a slingshot, a good stack of food, wood to make a chest or just a spare chest for storage, at least one bomb, although more are preferable, and a farm warp totem if you have one. It's going to be quite the ride. When you get there, you'll notice that when you first arrive, all of the paths are blocked off aside from the path to the right, and a brand new NPC is waiting for you in the tree. Follow him into a shaded forest area to the right and grab the golden walnut that's basically just chilling there in a bush, and also make sure that you don't miss the box with tent kits on the right because it will come in super handy later. If you go up into the hut at the top of the stairs and give the parrot that's chilling there the golden walnut that you just found, you will get a cutscene. You'll discover that this kid has basically lived with parrots his entire life and isn't very good at communicating, and that the parrots really, really like golden walnuts. These golden walnuts are super important because collecting them allows you to unlock new areas of the island by handing them into the various parrots dotted around, and there is a lot to unlock. Before you leave this area though, there actually are a couple of golden walnuts that you can find. First of all, take a swing at this tree with your pickaxe or axe and you will find a golden walnut that just pops right out. Outside the hut, if you go downstairs, you can find a secret path that goes off to the right. There's clearly a puzzle here, but we will talk about that later. For now, you can just grab the hidden walnut at the bottom. When you get back to where you arrived, because you gave the parrot the golden walnut, you will find a cute magma sprite waiting for you and the path to the north will be cleared. You can follow the magma sprite all the way north to reach the volcano, which is Ginger Island's version of the mines, or you can start exploring and collecting walnuts right away, which is usually what I prefer to do on my first day on the island. We'll talk about the volcano here in a minute, but first let's talk about the golden walnuts. There are a total of 130 golden walnuts hidden around the island for you to find. You only need 100 to access Key's special room, which we will also talk about in a bit, and 116 to unlock absolutely everything on the island, but you do need all 130 for perfection. You need these walnuts to unlock various locations on the island, such as the west side of the island, the Ginger Island Farmhouse, the dig site, the island trader, the island resort, which then unlocks access to the southeast of the island, and even a parrot fast travel system. Now, we're not about to get into how to find exactly every single golden walnut, that is a topic for maybe another video, But I am going to show you some of the easiest to find walnuts that you can get right after landing on the island and unlocking the north side so that you can start unlocking access to the rest of the island in your first few days. Aiming for the farmhouse as soon as possible is usually a good idea. Not only does it allow you to sleep on the island whenever you want, it also unlocks access to the parrots that fix the beach resort and the island trader. It is worth mentioning that with 1.6 came a brand new way of achieving all 130 walnuts. You can simply buy them from this parrot to the left of the volcano. However, you can only buy every single walnut that you're missing at once, making it pretty expensive to do right off the bat. And the game does warn you that doing this severely alters the Ginger Island experience. Aside from that, there's no in-game penalty other than having to watch Morris celebrate on the island. First-time players will probably benefit the most from avoiding this parrot, but like I say at the start of the video, there really is no wrong way to play Stardew Valley. Buy them if you want to, or find as many walnuts as you have the patience for and then buy the rest. Or give yourself a challenge and attempt to find all 130 on your own. It really is your choice at the end of the day. Like we mentioned before, you can actually unlock the farmhouse on day 1 if you want to, and then take as much time as you need to explore the rest of the island and find the rest of the golden walnuts. Unlocking the farmhouse requires a total of 31 walnuts, 1 for the first parrot, 10 to unlock the west side of the island, and then 20 for the farmhouse. And here's how you can do it in one day. Now, we already mentioned 3 golden walnuts, the one that is right outside of Leo's hut, the one that is hidden inside of Leo's hut, and the one that is in the area to the right of Leo's hut. But let's take a look at the rest of the island. Instead of following the magma sprite all the way north, you can find 1 golden walnut by hoeing the patch of dirt in this stone circle and then use the hidden path right above it to find another golden walnut hidden to the left. In this same area, hoe up this patch of ground between 4 blades of grass and then walk directly south through the hidden path under this tree to find another golden walnut sitting on the ledge. Returning to the previous area, hoe up this patch of dirt in the stone circle and continue north to hoe up another patch of suspicious looking ground. Outside the volcano, check this bush for a golden walnut, and in the circle of stones right above it, hoe this patch of ground for another one. Get out your slingshot and aim it at this tree for another golden walnut, and hoe up this patch of sand next to the golden parrot. If you continue down and to the left, you will eventually make your way out onto this ledge, and you can get your hands on this golden walnut that is hidden all the way at the bottom. The next one requires going into the volcano, but don't worry, you don't actually have to fight anything. This is why bringing your watering can is incredibly important. What you want to do is make yourself a path all the way over to the left and then exit out through this door to get your hands on these 2 hidden golden walnuts. You should have a total of 15 golden walnuts by now, and once you've found at least 10, you can access the west side of the island by paying off the parrots to harass the turtle. I'm not entirely sure what's happening here. I really hope that turtle's okay. We'll talk about this side of the island and the farmhouse here in a second, but first, let's keep finding those golden walnuts. Head south from the farmhouse to the beach and hoe up this spot here for a walnut, and then continue south to this broken down ship. Inside, you'll find another golden walnut. Once you have it, return outside, cross the bridge, and use your watering can from a distance to get a walnut from this whack-a-mole guy. You can also cover the holes with something like sprinklers and hit him with a tool to do the exact same thing. Continue to the left and you will find another walnut hidden here among these 4 dots in the sand, and of course the X marks the spot hides another golden walnut. To the right of the X, there's also a spot to hoe surrounded by 4 starfish, but you might have to break a rock or 2 to access it. There's another hidden walnut in a bush close to the small pond slightly to the north, and another in a bush even further to the north outside Key's walnut room, which we'll talk about in a bit. If you continue past the door, all the way at the end, you'll find yet another golden walnut. You can get 1 golden walnut from killing slimes, although it's not guaranteed on your first day, and in this same area, you can find a hidden walnut in this bush here, and another by hoeing up this spot here in the grass. If you go down and to the right from the tiger slimes, you can break some rocks and cut some grass to make your way around the ledge to yet another golden walnut. Go back to the area where the tiger slimes were and then go up around the corner for this hidden walnut in a bush, then cross the bridge and make sure to hoe up this spot over here between these 4 flowers for your last walnut. Once you do that, you should now have 20 golden walnuts. If you didn't manage to grab a golden walnut from the tiger slime drops, you can just grab this one that's on the ledge behind the farmhouse to make up for 20. Once you have all 20 golden walnuts that you need, you can unlock the farmhouse. And now you don't have to worry about running out of tent kits anymore, and you can also go on to unlock the beach resort and the island trader, which we will talk about in a second. Now that you're settled in with the farmhouse, let's take a look at the different areas of Ginger Island and what you can expect from them, starting with the area that we're in, the west side of the island. The west side of the island is where the farmhouse is, and you will have noticed by now that the area outside the rundown farmhouse is covered in weeds, stones, and logs, just like your normal farm when you first start your save. Fun fact about this area is that you don't actually need to repair the farmhouse to start using the farmland and planting seeds. If you clear out the mess of weeds and stone, you can start planting as soon as you get here, but do keep in mind that the weeds on Ginger Island spawn more often than on your normal farm. Back in the valley, weeds only spawn 1 day per season except for winter, and have a chance to spread every single day after that. Whereas on Ginger Island, weeds spawn every single Monday and spread on consecutive days, so they can do some serious damage to your crops if you don't keep them in check. Of course, buying the golden clock from the wizard will prevent weeds from spawning on both farms, but it does cost 10 million gold. This is probably because the Ginger Island farm is amazingly overpowered in every single way. No crows will come and eat your crops, so you don't need scarecrows, and you can grow literally every type of crop and tree here regardless of the season. It's basically like a prettier, much bigger greenhouse. It has exactly 775 plantable tiles in the main area, and then another 100 tiles scattered throughout the rest of the west side, which you can also use if you really need the space. Aside from that, you can get 5 more golden walnuts from just harvesting crops on this farm, and once the farmhouse is fixed, you can get another 15 from your friendly neighborhood frog chef that lives in the cave behind your house. He'll give you 3 cryptically worded quests, one at a time. First, he asks you to grow a melon on the farm, then he'll ask you to grow some wheat, and finally he asks for garlic. You have to grow one of each and let him know when they're fully grown before he will give you the next quest, but you do get 5 golden walnuts per crop grown. Also, very important side note, fishing in this cave has a chance to produce, in my opinion, the best item in the entire game, the frog hat. Look at it, it's so freaking cute. Moving on, the west side of the island is also home to a Simon Says type puzzle hidden in a cave in an area above your farmhouse. It's pretty simple, you just repeat the pattern and you will get 3 walnuts for your troubles. Every time you fail, you have to restart, and the game actually becomes a little bit easier every time this happens. This is a nice little accessibility add-on that's muchly appreciated, however it would be nice to have the option to not make the game easier for those that like a challenge. If you go all the way over to the west coast, you will find a lady called Birdie. Interacting with Birdie gives you a quest to retrieve a keepsake of her husband's, which involves finding the exact correct person to give the war memento to, and then the next item, and then the next item, until eventually you have what she wants. For your troubles, she will reward you with 5 golden walnuts and the recipe for fairy dust, which is possibly one of the best items in the game. If you didn't know, you can use fairy dust on things like kegs, preserve jars, etc. to make them finish instantly. North of Birdie's hut, you can find the door to Key's special walnut room. Now, in order to access this room in the first place, you have to find 100 golden walnuts, but it is definitely worth it. Inside, you will find the perfection tracker, a brand new quest board, and a new shop with some of the best items in the game in it. The perfection tracker does exactly what it says in the tin, it tracks your perfection score, but keep in mind that it only counts completed categories, so you could have befriended every single villager but one and still not see it reflected in your final score. This new quest board has some of the more fun and frustrating quests in the game. It works exactly like the normal request board in Pelican Town, with 2 new options appearing every Monday from a list of 10 possible quests. Now, these quests are usually massively time-consuming and not very easy to pull off, but they do give you key gems which you can spend in the shop, which, like we said before, has some of the best and most interesting items in the entire game. There is actually a lot to cover here, so the special order board and the shop in Key's Walnut Room deserve their very own video, which should be coming out soon, so definitely keep an eye out for that. Moving on, let's talk about the beach resort. The beach resort can be repaired for 20 golden walnuts after repairing the farmhouse. Those parrots are really good at carpentry, by the way. Maybe Robin could take some lessons. Now, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I really don't like the beach resort. I mean, yes, it's cute. You get to see the villagers in their swimwear. I'm looking at you, Harvey. And Gus mans the bar when he visits, but it severely messes with the villagers' schedules. Random villagers will come and visit the island on sunny days, which can be a massive problem if you have something specific in mind to do back on the mainland. Luckily, you can keep the resort closed down permanently if you want to. You just have to interact with this little sign to toggle the resort to close starting the next day, and you never ever have to open it again. However, it is kind of nice knowing that Leo's getting a little extra company. In my opinion, the main benefit of unlocking the resort is access to the southeast side of the island. This side of the island has a few more hidden walnuts for you to find in some pretty obvious places, but aside from that, on rainy days, a mermaid will appear on a rock and hum you a tune. Now, in order to solve this puzzle in the first place, you have to have a 6-heart relationship with Robin and have seen the cutscene where she gives you the recipe for flute blocks. Make yourself 5 flute blocks and place them on these stones. Make sure to tune them using right click, and the way you tune them is based on the amount of stones that are on the actual tile. For example, a small stone means 1 and a large stone means 5. If done correctly, when you walk past them to play them, the mermaid will reward you with 5 golden walnuts. Beyond this area, you can find the Pirate Cove. This is the only place in the game that you can catch the stingray, which is a fish needed for perfection, and you can also catch a statue of the cute frog chef dude in the cave on your island farm. On non-rainy and even-numbered days, the Pirate Cove comes alive from 8 PM onwards with actual pirates. You can play darts for golden walnuts, interact with the pirates, and if you're wearing a pirate-themed item of clothing or a parrot egg, you can get some free mead from the bar, which is pretty cool. I'm also a really big fan of the Mario and Luigi cosplay Easter egg thingy that these two have going on. Absolutely love it. Moving on and backtracking a little bit, directly north from the beach resort, you can find the Island Trader, which you can unlock for 10 golden walnuts after unlocking the farmhouse, so you won't see a parrot here initially. The Island Trader, much like the Desert Trader, prefers to trade in items rather than gold. This blue Duolingo bird has a fixed stock of mainly island-themed items such as seeds, trees, tropical furniture, and one of the best items in the game, deluxe retaining soil. This soil makes it so that your plants always stay watered overnight, removing the need for sprinklers entirely, which makes it amazing for those that have chosen the beach farm, which can't use sprinklers on the sand. The bird also has a rotating stock, mostly of decorations and hats, and on the last day of each season, if certain requirements are met, you can purchase a Galaxy Soul for 10 radioactive bars. If neither of these things ring a bell at all, don't worry, they are extremely endgame items, and I'll be talking a little bit more about them in my key quest guide video, which should be maybe out soon. While we're on the subject of the Island Trader, I highly recommend buying yourself a banana sapling as soon as possible to get golden walnuts from this guy over here in exchange for a banana, and stocking up on pineapple seeds and taro tubes too. There is a late game request posted to the request board in town after unlocking Ginger Island that requires you to ship either 100 pineapples, taro roots, or ginger within 28 days. Now this may seem like a lot, but it actually unlocks the recipe for solar panels and removes the need to wait for thunder to get batteries. Moving on, let's talk about the dig site and the field office. Just north of the trader, you will find an empty tent at first and a broken bridge to the left. If you repair the bridge for 10 walnuts, you gain access to the dig site, which may not seem like much at first, but it is actually one of my favorite spots in the entire game. The dig site is home to bone nodes, which can yield some of the fossils that can be donated to the field office, which we'll get to here in a second, clay nodes, and mahogany trees. You can also harvest mushrooms from the cave once it's been opened, and you can also find a shady salesman in here called Fizz who will sell you perfection slips for a very hefty price. Now, when you get here, this cave won't actually be here. You'll instead notice a big boulder and someone calling for help behind it. This is where that bomb that we mentioned earlier comes in handy. Explode the boulder to free a curious little goy called Professor Snail, who will make his way to the empty tent that we saw before, where you can donate various fossils that you find around the island, as well as answer a couple of island surveys, all in exchange for golden walnuts. However, the most interesting part about the dig site is actually the small river that runs through it. Why? Panning. I know you're probably rolling your eyes. Panning has always been sort of an afterthought in Stardew Valley, but in the 1.6 update, we got the ability to upgrade our pan all the way to iridium, which can find between 6 and 12 ores, plus up to 4 special items that aren't ore. It also has a very high chance to spawn another panning spot in the same area. So why is this area in particular good for panning? Well, it's a very small area and it's easy to spot the panning spots that pop up, and on a good luck day, you will make an absolute killing. I'm unsure if more panning spots appear during good luck days, but I do know for certain that luck plays a big part in the amount of resources that you get from panning. There's a lot of math involved, but it basically boils down to higher luck means increased ore, more special items, and even higher chances to pan lucky rings, which can be maddeningly difficult to find. For example, I found 4 lucky rings in just one day by spending the entire day panning at the dig site with as many luck buffs as I could possibly get, and of course on a very good luck day. If you're going to attempt this, a pro tip for panning is that these shimmering spots in the water actually have a small sound cue when they pop up. I'll be quiet here for a second to show you what I mean. This makes it pretty easy to identify when a new spot has popped up, rather than relying on just seeing them. And if you turn the music off in your game settings, it'll make it even easier. Last, but definitely not least, we are going to talk about the Ginger Island Volcano, which is the island's version of the mines or the Skull Cavern with its own set of enemies and rewards. Unlike the other mines, the Volcano dungeon only has 10 floors that go up and they reset every day rather than when you exit and enter. You don't need any walnuts to unlock access to the volcano, you can head straight on in whenever you want. What you will need, however, is your watering can to create a bridge across the river of lava at the entrance. Later, you can spend walnuts to make this bridge permanent, but you should still always come with your watering can either way because lava rivers and pools spawn throughout the different volcano floors. It's also worth mentioning that you can find a bunch of golden walnuts in the volcano. You can find 5 from just mining rocks, 5 from slaying monsters, 5 from smashing open crates, 1 from normal chests, 1 from rare chests, and 2 hidden in the bushes at the very tippy top of the volcano. But aside from golden walnuts, what else awaits you inside the volcano? Well, first, let's have a look at the different enemies that can spawn in here. Keep in mind that once you've reached the bottom of the mines, every enemy has a small chance of dropping diamonds and prismatic shards, including these guys in here. You'll mostly encounter magma sprites, tiger slimes, hotheads, and lava lurks. Magma sprites are pretty annoying, they zip around super fast and can be difficult to take on in groups. There's also a second type of magma sprite called a magma sparker that's slightly brighter and can inflict debuffs on the player that reduce attack, defense, and speed, so getting caught up in a bunch of these little guys can be pretty damn bad. They do have a big chance to drop cinder shards, which we'll talk about here in a second, as well as a very small chance to drop, like we said before, diamonds and prismatic shards. Tiger slimes are pretty self-explanatory. These guys are no issue at all if you have the slime charmer ring, and they can drop a wide range of items including the usual slime drops as well as some Ginger Island themed drops such as pineapple seeds, taro tubers, and the rare tiger hat. Hotheads are little guys that explode when they're low health, just like their mine counterparts, and they have an almost identical loot drop aside from pineapple seeds and bombs. Lava lurks can be really annoying. They spit fireballs at you from a distance, which you can get rid of by hitting with your weapon, and they can only be hit when they're close to the edge and above the lava, unless of course you're using a slingshot. Normally, I'd say just avoid these guys, but they drop a very important endgame item called a dragon tooth that's needed for a couple of recipes and, more importantly, the island obelisk. Any items that these guys drop go straight into your inventory to avoid them getting swallowed up by the lava, unless it's full, in which case they probably will fall into the lava and disappear. If you're out hunting for dragon teeth, definitely keep 1 in your inventory at all times so that even if it's full, you will still catch any teeth that drop. Other types of enemies that you'll encounter less often include false magma caps, magma duggies, and dwarvish sentries. False magma caps almost always drop actual magma caps and have a chance to drop cinder shards. Magma duggies are essentially the same as the normal ones, and they drop cinder shards, taro tubers, and mega bombs. Dwarvish sentries are these little robot guys that have a chance to appear when you break open crates in the volcano, and they can drop pretty much any gemstone. With all that being said, you would do well to prepare before going into the volcano. Buckets of food can help with the hefty damage that the enemies do, and definitely make sure to bring some sort of warp totem to get out of sticky situations. There is no exiting out of a ladder here, and if you get stuck, you have to make your way all the way back out or to a shortcut like the one you can unlock on level 5 or the one on the very top of the volcano. Let's talk a little bit about the floors in the volcano. So these floors change every single day, aside from floor 5, which always has a pool for refilling your watering can, and a dwarf running a shop that sells some pretty good items, including a book that gives all stones a small chance to drop diamonds when mined, the recipe for ginger ale, island warp totems, and these cute shoes which, aside from having great stats, jingle when you run, which is just very adorable. The rest of the floors in the volcano are randomly generated every single day. Some floors have gates that require you to push buttons to open, similar to old Pokemon games, and some of them can have lava pools or rivers that you need to cross, so definitely remember your watering can. Don't forget it like I always do. You can also find dragon teeth just sitting around these big skeletons, and chests found in the volcano can contain some pretty rare loot, including ostrich eggs, dragon scale boots, dragon teeth weapons, and rare rings such as the phoenix ring that revives you after you get knocked out once a day, or one of my personal favorites, the hot java ring that gives monsters a 20% chance to drop coffee and a 10% chance to drop triple shot espressos. Now, the very top floor is the main attraction of the volcano. This is where you will find the forge, which can be used to do all sorts of fancy stuff to your weapons and tools. Now, this is the exact point in the video where I decided that the forge would be getting its own separate guide, because there is a lot to cover and this video is already 25 minutes long, so I'll just summarize it quickly here for y'all. First of all, on your first visit to the forge, you will find a shiny, free prismatic shard just waiting for you in a chest. Now, you can do whatever you want with this shard, but it is intended to be used in the forge. But how do you use the forge? The forge allows you to forge any melee weapon up to 3 times to improve it using various different gems and cinder shards, and it also allows you to enchant your weapons and tools for special effects using prismatic shards and cinder shards. The list of forges and enchantments and how to get them is pretty long, so I will definitely be making a video just for them. Also, this is a great time to remind you to subscribe so you don't miss it. Aside from enchanting and forging, there are a couple of other secrets to the forge area. You can use the forge to combine 2 rings into one and also undo the combination. You could also use it to remove all forges from your weapons, as well as combining 2 weapons into one by taking the stats from one weapon and the appearance of the other. Just keep in mind that aside from gems and prismatic shards, you will need cinder shards for almost anything you want to do with the forge. Once you've been here once, you can use this shortcut over here to get back to the bottom floor of the volcano, and you can easily access the forge from there anytime you want as well. Of course, with the release of Stardew Valley 1.6, you can make your own mini forge and use it from the comfort of your own home as long as you've achieved combat mastery. And last but not least, I wanted to add a little bit here at the end with some random tips that didn't really fit in any of the other categories that I thought you guys would like to know. If you're finding it difficult to find every single golden walnut, you can talk to the parrot in Leo's hut, who will give you a hint every single day for the location of different walnuts. Circling back to this puzzle that we mentioned at the start of the video, you technically don't need to know the solution to complete it. When you interact with the shrine, it will give you a riddle that boils down to this. Special gem birds appear once at a time on rainy days to the north, south, east, and west of the island. Find them and the gems they drop and place them on the altar. The way this works is you find the gem bird on a rainy day, pick up the gem that it drops when approached, and put it on the corresponding pedestal thingy in this puzzle room. However, you don't actually need to place the exact same gem, and you don't need to even have found the gem bird. It involves some guesswork, but you can basically cheese this puzzle. The 5 possible gems dropped are amethyst, aquamarine, emerald, ruby, and topaz. If you know 2 of the gems, you can simply play around with placing and removing the other gems until you get it right. Now, it's not the most dignified way to solve a puzzle, but it's great if you're impatient like me. And lastly, I know I could give more walnut locations, but I think that part of the fun is finding them for yourself. Make sure to investigate everything that looks out of place and keep up your daily activities on the island, and you are sure to find them all. But if y'all would actually be interested in a step-by-step walkthrough on the locations of every single walnut in the game, which is 130, let me know in the comments and I can definitely make that happen. And that's about it for this video. Keep an eye out for the key quest guides and the forge guides that I have coming out soon. They will probably be easier to spot if you're subscribed, so you know what to do. If you'd like to catch me outside of YouTube land for some actual real conversations, you can follow me over on Twitch, where I stream a bunch of different games live 3 times a week. Stop by and say hi. My community is a rowdy but welcoming bunch. As always, I appreciate each and every one of you. I wanted to thank you all for 5,000 subscribers, which is a goal that I hit when I started working on this video. But as of posting it, we're almost at 6,000 subscribers, which is wild. Thank you all so much from the bottom of my heart. And I will catch you all in the next video. Bye!